Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Alright, so to get started with our hearts pattern, what I've done here is I wanted to actually show one of the patterns where we do it in the round. So what I'm going to do here is I have started out a little hat and it should be probably like toddler sized. I casted on a whole bunch of stitches. Our pattern needs a multiple of 12 stitches. So I've done a multiple of that for this pattern. I think I did 60. But if that's wrong, of course, I will post it on the screen here when I'm doing the editing. And we are actually going to use this pattern here that I'm showing on the screen now, and it's going to show us exactly how to do this hearts pattern. So we're going to use these little diamond sections in between all of our hearts, and then we're going to go ahead and make the hearts themselves. So what I've done is I've cast it on. I've done about 1.5 inches or so. If you guys are ever wondering how to measure an inch, it's generally the section between your thumb and the tip of your finger here. So I use that to measure my 1.5 inches to 2 inches for my ribbing. So here we have about an inch, barely 1.25 inches or so for that. And now we're going to get into the body. So I've already started with about 5 rows of gray, and then that's going to be the main color for our pattern. Now the pink on the bottom here, I've just dropped both colors here in the back, and now we're going to pick up as we need each color. We're going to do the hearts in pink and the main body of the hat in gray, and it's just going to turn out super sweet. So let's get going. So to begin our pattern, we are going to start with our row number 5 in the design. I'm going to skip the first few rows of border that happen at the bottom of the pattern. We're going to skip that. We're going to jump right into the hearts in the middle. So we are going to start with our very first diamond. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold both yarns in my left hand. So we're going to hold one over my index and one over my middle finger like so, and then they're both wrapped underneath my pinky, or I guess back over top of my pinky. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do the first stitch with pink. So I'll use my ring finger there to push the pink in between my stitches, and then we need 5 stitches of gray, so our main color. So we want our pink to come out of the way. We're going to twist our hand and push the gray in between and do our 5. Now we're going to start the bottom of our heart, which is right now. So our next stitch is a pink one. It's the very bottom tip of our heart, and then we're going to do 5 more gray before our next pink one. So we're going to continue working across this first row. Accent color, 5 main, accent color, 5 main. And that's going to be our repeat. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we will come back in a moment to knit the second row of the pattern. Now keep in mind as we're working here that we do not want to hold our pink tight in the back. It needs to be nice and loose, or you're going to end up making it really, really tight, and it's going to cinch down the gray, and we just really don't want that, okay? So just keep your pink nice and loose. Now if you knit English style as well, I'll show you how I hold it when I'm working 2 colors. So I hold the yarn and my knitting with my left hand, and then I put the 2 yarns over my fingers. So basically one's under, one's over my index finger, and then I just knit, and then when I'm knitting the other color, I just knit with my index finger, stick it out and catch it. It's just more steps and a little bit slower to knit for me. I've taken up continental knitting over the last little while and I really enjoy it, but I feel like this is harder to do this with 2 colors. So maybe I still have some things to learn. Alright, so here we have finished the first row of our pattern. I have placed a stitch marker here at the end of the row so that I can tell when it's going to be switching to another pattern. For this row, it's going to be a little bit more pink than gray. And for this one, we are going to do 1 gray stitch just over top of the pink, and then a pink, that. And then we have 3 gray before 3 pink, and then 3 more gray before 1 more pink to finish the repeat. And then we're going to continue. So 1 gray, so 1 main color, 1 accent color, 3 main color, 3 accent color, 3 main color, and 1 accent color to finish off the repeat. So that was pink. And then we are going to finish the row, and then 1 pink as the end of our repeat. So go ahead and keep doing that, and we will be back in a moment for row number 3. Alright, and if you can see, this is the back of our work. Alright, we want to make sure that our pink stays nice and loose in between. We don't want to end up with really, really tight pink stitches, because if they are too tight, what's going to happen is this section here is going to pull, and then we're going to end up losing this little stitch here. So we want to keep our stitches nice and loose, and then we can adjust them a touch when we get to the end. All right, and yes, your yarn will twist up into a twist, but that's okay. We just separate it, and you can, of course, alternate back and forth, you know, keeping one on the top, one on the bottom, and that will make things easier as well. All right, so there we are at the end of the row. We have 3, and if you are unsure of where you should be, watch your pattern, because we have 1 here and then 3 on top. So it's going to continue getting larger on both sides of that initial stitch. These other ones here are the little diamonds that are happening in between, and they have a gray stitch in the middle. All right, let's do the next row. Row number 3, we're going to start with a pink stitch to finish off our diamond, and then we need 3 gray before doing 5 pink in a row and finishing our repeat with 3 more gray stitches. My yarn's in a bag on the floor and it's getting tight for whatever reason, so I have to keep pulling on it. So 3 gray. Now we're going to do 5 pink ones, and then 3 more gray to finish off the repeat, and then we're going to start again. All right, so keep going there. So again, we're starting row number 3 with a pink, 3 grays, 5 pink, 3 grays, and then we begin again. All right, keep going here, and I'll be back for the next row. All right, so row number 4 for this pattern is going to be 3 gray stitches followed by 7 pink ones, and then 2 gray at the end of the row. So we're going to do 5 gray and 7, 5 gray, and then 7 pink. All right, so we have 7 pink, 7, and then we're going to do 5 gray ones. So keep your gray nice and loose in the back. Okay, you want to loosen off your stitches a little bit here. Make sure that your gray stays nice and loose, and then loop it up so that way we don't have too tight of our hearts, because it will pull. Okay, so it's 3 at the beginning of the repeat and 2 at the end to make our 5. All right, so for our next row, we are going to row 5 and 6 are the same. You're going to do 2 main color and then 9 accent color with 1 main color again at the end of the repeat. So then you're going to do 9 accent color with just 3 gray stitches in between them. So we're going to go ahead and work those. And then in between our hearts, we're doing 3 gray stitches, which is the equivalent of having just 1 at the end and 2 at the beginning. So we'll do 2 rows like that, and then we'll come back to do our second to last row of our hearts in just a moment. All right, so here we are after the 2 rows the same, and then now we're going to do our last 2 rows of the pattern, and we are going to begin with 2 gray stitches, and then we have 4 pink before 1 more gray, and then 4 more pink. 4 pink, so this is going to make the V at the top of the heart. 4, and then 1 gray one, keeping it nice and loose and behind, and then we have 4 more gray. And then we have our between the heart stitches. So again, we're going to have 3, just like we did in the last 2 rows. 3 gray. And then we go back into the heart with this, which is what we just did. So at the end of the row, we'll just have 1 gray stitch at the end. And then the final row will be as follows. It is going to be 3 gray, 2 pink, 3 gray, 2 pink. And then between our 2 hearts after that, that should be after the heart. And then we're going to do 5 gray ones in between our 2 hearts, just for that final row. And then you can do a couple more rows of just the solid gray again if you like. You can add a couple of diamonds in between your hearts again, just above, you know, completely up to you. The pattern that I'm using actually has a second panel of hearts above, so it just has 1 row of solid gray in between, followed by the same heart pattern again, but it will be offset. So that's actually really cute. So if you have the space, if you're making the hat for like maybe not, you know, not a newborn, you've got a little bit more body length, you can definitely make that heart pattern and do both of them. So I will probably do that here. The written pattern will include both on the blog post, so you guys can check that out. It's linked in the description below. Oh, what happened here? Oh, we're offset. I made a mistake. Look at that. We're going to have to fix this. Goodness. All right. I'm going to go back and fix this, and we'll be back in a moment to do that last row really quickly. And then when I finish the pattern, basically we're going to do one more full row of gray here after our hearts are finished. And then what we want to do is we want to kind of fix this. So what's happening here, you can see, is we have a little bit of a too big of a stitch basically right there. So we're going to turn this stitch over. Basically, I'm going to grab onto it with my fingers on either side so I can tell which strand is coming through the back. And then we're just going to give it a little tighten. And see if we can't get it to cinch down just a little bit. There we go. That's working now. All right, and now we have a little bit smaller of a stitch on the front. All right, and we're just going to do that all the way around because we have a lot of, or we're going to have a lot of kind of gapping happening here at the end there, like there. There's another big gray one. So we're going to come in, and what we're going to see is we're going to have a whole bunch of strands back here. It's going to probably be hard to tell which one is too big. So we're going to give a little tug and figure out which one it is until we find the right one. Now this is just what works for me, and it seems to do well when I do these Fair Isle patterns. I've done quite a few of them. I have like Argyle style one that I did for one of a kid's hat way back in the day that I found online. It's honestly pinned on my Pinterest board if you guys want to check that out. And you know, it's just, they're just really, really cute pattern ideas. Okay. There's lots of them out there. So you can go ahead and take basically any graph pattern, and if it was a corner to corner crochet pattern, you could use that like we did for the heart quarter to corner panel. That would work as well for this. Your blocks are obviously only one stitch in knitting, so it's going to be a completely different size. We're going to go ahead and continue working this one and finishing it off. Now I will, like I said, include the second heart in the blog post. And I think in a future, probably in another video here coming soon, probably after this are 30 stitches, maybe in October sometime, I will create a tutorial for how to do the double brim hat, so the nice and double thick brim hat. So basically you want to know how to sew those so that the lower edge is double thick. Now we don't have to do ribbing for that one, so we can just do a straight knit stitch, which makes it faster. These types of hats are, you know, extra warm. So if you live in a northern climate like I do, it is definitely something that my kids love wearing, like to school, and it seems to, you know, be extra warm when we go outside, you know, working around the yard, going sledding, that kind of thing. So that's going to come up soon. So you guys go ahead and hit the subscribe button and come back and see our next video. We have a couple more left in the series here. It was 30 stitches in 30 days, but of course that did not work out. My computer completely died, and I ended up in the shop for 4 days. And so we lost a lot of time, and then we're also renovating. So I had some sanity issues as well. So just, you know, getting a little nuts with all of the editing, and I hope you guys understand. I think we're going to end up with about 27 stitches, and we'll probably end around the 1st or 2nd of October, but that's fine. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Today is day 25. We have 2 more stitches coming in the next couple of days, so stick around for those, and then we will finish off the series of 30 stitches just in October. So I'll do a second video each week until those last 3 videos are posted. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope you guys will come back and watch the next video tomorrow. I am super grateful for you guys watching all the way to the end. Keep watching. All right, click the video here. It will be the next video in the series. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you then.